Hello you guys, welcome back to another episode of I Watched It So You Don't Have To. This time around we are talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and it is one of a handful of movies that are on my list of most anticipated films of this year, and I have to say, it's always a weird place to be in when you are satisfied with the nostalgia and all of the Easter eggs, but the movie is absolutely for children. Bowser has his sights on the world, but Peach is determined to stop him before he can complete his conquest. She is aided by Mario, who has lost his brother Luigi, to enlist the aid of the army of Kong Island. They must all stand together against the all-powerful Bowser and put a stop to his plans. When I say this movie is for the kids, I mean it. When I say that this movie is so satisfying with all the Easter eggs and nostalgia, I mean it. I will admit I am a casual fan of the franchise. I played the video games on the NES, the Game Boy, SNES, and the DS, and that's where I started to fall off until some of the more recent Switch games came out. And even as a casual fan, there was so much that I was able to pick up on. So if you've played any of the games, or even better, if you've played more games, then you will definitely be able to catch a ton of things. I'm talking from the iconic sound of the coins, to the shell stomping, to the side-scrolling moment, and the iconic music. If you've played even more games, you'll be able to pick up on even more elements like this. I'm talking Luigi's Mansion, the DK Rap, and several background characters of the film. The storyline is there. It's pretty standard, but it is very watered down in a way that definitely relies on other elements to hold your attention, such as the visuals, other characters, as well as the action. There was a lot of time spent on the action. There was a lot of time spent on the visuals, just looking around and seeing all of the different worlds. I did see a TikTok that was talking about how there wasn't very much dialogue in this movie, and there isn't, even when you're specifically comparing this movie to other, similarly styled movies, so other animated movies in the genre. And even without having seen that TikTok, it is very obvious that there is not much talking going on between the characters. But I gotta say, I'm not really mad about it because the visuals are spectacular. I really love the animation. The style is very much Super Mario Brothers. I love the aesthetic and I really love the rich colors. Again, the movie looks spectacular throughout, and speaking of spectacular, we're going to talk about the best thing to come out of this movie, and that's Jack Black's Bowser. When he wasn't on screen, I was waiting for him to be on screen. The performance he gave is so much better than it should have been, given the bar the movie set. He puts everything into his roles, and the voiceover work for this movie is no exception. Despite the menacing presence Bowser has, Jack Black easily makes him a more complex character, pulling depth and nuance from Bowser through his performance. Now let's talk about the princess. Anya Taylor-Joy as Peach is a dream. And I really love the agency her character has, which honestly, you guys, completely surprised me. And she absolutely took center stage every time she was on screen. Speaking of center stage, we've got to talk about the person that really made the most with the time he had on screen. Keegan-Michael Key as Toad is stellar. Not only is the character of Toad just flat out comedy gold, but the layers Keegan-Michael Key brings to the performance is so awesome. All right, you guys, I watched it so you don't have to, but was it worth the watch? If you've got kids, then it's worth it. Or if you, like me, are the kid, and you guys, I am serious because I definitely live for my inner child. I got tickets for my family and I to go see this movie in D-Box at Cinemark, and it's worth it. I've been saying it for a while now. I've said it about several movies that we've talked about in the past. Movies are out here doing what they're doing well. Another movie that is no exception to that. This is a perfect movie for kids. It's got a typical story, and it is very easy to follow, very easy to digest. That said, for the adults in the audience, people that are maybe looking at it with a more critical eye, or maybe there's no inner child, Nostalgia and classic elements aside, this movie is definitely not gonna stick the landing. Again, the movie is predictable, it's easy to follow, and overall the story is kind of boring, but those three characters, those three actors that I mentioned absolutely carried this movie. I am a fan of animated movies, and movies like Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon, you guys are my absolute favorites. I could list more, but for the sake of time, I won't. Those movies aren't afraid to dig deeper and really flesh out characters, flesh out the story, and that's always something that I wish for more animated movies to do. At this point, I'm pretty good about picking out whether or not a movie is targeted specifically for children, like the Super Mario Brother movie, versus movies that are targeted to more of a wider audience, like Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. And I'm not gonna lie, the animated movies that are specifically geared toward children, I tend to skip, but it's the Super Mario Brothers, you guys. I was not about to skip this movie. But if you're looking for a fun and bright, colorful movie, if you're looking for something with Easter eggs spanning many different games in the Mario Brothers franchise that when you pick them out, it will make you smile. If you're looking for a movie to take little ones to, or to just take your inner child to, then this one's for you. If you're looking for a movie targeted to a wider audience like the movies that I mentioned before with How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda, or if you're looking for a movie that just has a really strong storyline and character development, then I would look for a different movie. All right, movie fans, that brings us to the end of the episode where I watched it so you don't have to. If you're listening on the podcast, thank you very much. I'm going to leave a link to the podcast down below. If you're watching here on YouTube, leave the video a thumbs up if you like the video so I know you liked the video. Let me know down below, have you seen the Super Mario Brothers movie yet? If you've seen the movie, what did you think about it? Let me know your favorite Super Mario characters down below. So I want to talk about something that I mentioned earlier, and that's Peach's agency and how much she actually really drove the story. I want to talk about this a little bit because if you remember the 2022 recap video that I posted and the part where I talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie, I'm also excited about Mario. I want to visit the world. I'm just mad that Chris Pratt is there. Chris Pratt's Mario is there, but not front and center in the way that I thought he was going to be. On top of that, the marketing is really pushing Jack Black, and I'm on TikTok a lot. All the TikToks I am seeing about this movie is just Jack Black and Bowser, which I absolutely love. So Chris Pratt's Mario absolutely faded into the background, like way into the background, which is fine by me. Also, I have to say, you guys, Jack Black made me a Bowser fan. Absolutely, justice for Bowser. I absolutely love Bowser now. He needs a solo movie, a series, a whole Bowserverse. I am here for it. When I tell you Jack Black carried this movie, I mean it. Aside from my newfound love for Bowser, my favorites include Yoshi and Toad. Let me know your favorites. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next movie that I'm going to be watching for you. The next movie is going to be Renfield, and you guys, I wasn't actually going to watch this movie. Okay, you see my boy interrupting me while I'm trying to film. Hello. But then, you guys, I saw the R-rated trailer and it looks absolutely hilarious. I'm also going to be watching Suzume, so we are tackling 2 movies next week. You guys, pray for me. Send help. My work schedule is crazy next week. On top of all of that, as promised, I did go see Dungeons and Dragons this past weekend, and I actually really love the movie. My goal was to definitely do a YouTube video for that movie, but again, my work schedule is absolutely against me. On top of that, the 2 movies that I'm watching this weekend, Renfield and Suzume. Worst comes to worst, I will drop the Dungeons and Dragons episode, but it will most likely be a podcast exclusive, but I will keep you guys updated. But until the next episode, spread positivity, be safe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time. Bye.